Hello students, this is Dr. Anurag and I hope this mapping session finds you in good spirits and good health. This is the session 38 of video mapping series for UPSC and other competitive examinations. And as all of you know, we are covering this topic in a comprehensive manner, not leaving even a single point from static or from the current affairs, and enabling you to gather the best knowledge and becoming a topper in solving multiple choice questions from world and India mapping. So as you can see, today is session 38 of video mapping series, and the topic of today's discussion is a portion of world mapping, that is Africa. So till now we have already finished off the continents of Australia, continent of Asia and continent of South America and Central America. Today our discussion focuses upon the continent of Africa, which is the second largest continent in the world. In fact, the complete information about Africa is very elaborative, and hence we have divided the videos of Africa in three parts. Today is the part 1 of Africa. In today's video, we are going to have a look over the physical features and location of Africa. In the next video, we will be finishing off the political aspects and countries and cities of Africa. And in the last video of Africa, we would be finishing off the current affairs, contemporary issues and miscellaneous organizations located or established in Africa. So by the end of today's session, you would be mastering the physical features and location aspects of the continent of Africa. And students, if you have still not subscribed to our channel, please subscribe at the earliest to get the latest updates over videos which are being launched on various aspects of UPSC syllabus. So let's start today's session. Africa is the second largest continent of the world. As I told, it has also been referred to as the dark continent of the world. The dark continent word, the dark continent phrase here means that it is still unexplored. Much of Africa is still unexplored since the medieval times and the modern times. In fact, this is the only continent which has not fully been exhausted or explored or utilized for the extraction of resources. And by default, all the third world developing and the underdeveloped countries lie in Africa. In fact, there is only one country which leads the African nations, and that is South Africa. South Africa is a developing country leading the pack of African nations, but still the rest of Africa is underdeveloped or developing. And as you can see, the continent of Africa is located in between the oceans of Atlantic and Indian. Atlantic Ocean is located to the west of Africa, while Indian Ocean is located towards the east of Africa, as you can see here. And the continent of Africa also consists of certain islands in Indian Ocean. These islands, as you can see, Seychelles Islands, Madagascar Island, Comoros Islands and Mauritius Islands. They are included in the continent of Africa. I repeat, Seychelles, Comoros, Madagascar and Mauritius. In fact, Madagascar is the biggest island in Africa, and this island is also very famous this island is world famous for the existence of primates out here. Chimpanzees, gorillas, the largest diversity of primates in fact in the world is found in the island of Madagascar. So let us study in detail about Africa. So as I told, Africa is located in between Atlantic Ocean in the west and Indian Ocean in the east. And to the north of Africa is located the Mediterranean Sea. It is also a part of Atlantic, sandwiched in between Europe and Africa. So you can see the portion of Mediterranean Sea out here, location. And on the eastern side, there is a part of Indian Ocean. There is an arm of Indian Ocean which has made inroads between Africa and West Asia, and that is Red Sea. Red Sea portion, as you can see, it is here. So Red Sea Mediterranean Sea, Atlantic Ocean and Indian Ocean. These are the water bodies, major water bodies surrounding Africa. And in the south is present the Southern Ocean. I have already discussed about the Southern Ocean in the video over Antarctica and Southern Ocean, and I have already told that all the portion of oceanic water south of 60 degrees south latitude is referred to as the Southern Ocean. So this is all about the water bodies surrounding the continent of Africa. Let's move ahead and see the major latitudes and longitudes cutting across Africa. So Africa is the second largest continent, as I said, and it is the only continent in the whole of the world through which all the three major latitudes and prime meridian passes. So three major latitudes. First is equator, that is 0 degree latitude, cutting across almost the center of Africa, as you can see here. And just north of equator is 23.5 degree north, that is Tropic of Cancer, as you can see it here, cutting in the northern portion of Africa. And in south, Tropic of Capricorn, that is 23.5 degrees south. And apart from this, the prime meridian, that is 0 degree longitude, also passes through Africa in the western part. So all in all, 4 major latitudes and longitudes are cutting across the continent of Africa. And if we see in detail the countries they are cutting across, first, equator cuts across the countries of Gabon, Congo, Zaire, I repeat, Gabon, Congo, this portion, Zaire is also referred to as Democratic Republic of Congo. Next, Uganda, Kenya and Somalia. So 6 countries all in all, equator is cutting across. And I would say please memorize the countries of Uganda, Kenya and Somalia. They are very, very important. So equator cuts across these 3 countries, you should know. UPSC can ask questions from this point, from this fact. Next, the next famous latitude, Tropic of Cancer. As you can see, it cuts across the western Sahara portion, followed by Mauritania country, then Mali country, then Algeria country, then Libya and then Egypt. And it also cuts across River Nile flowing in Egypt. So this is also very, very important. So I repeat, Western Sahara, Mauritania, Mali, Algeria, Libya and Egypt are cut across by Tropic of Cancer, west to east alignment. I would like to add one point to this. Western Sahara is an independent nation, but it is claimed by Morocco. In fact, Morocco had captured this belt in the recent times, and it has only been in the recent past that Western Sahara has declared that it is an independent nation. Morocco still claims that Western Sahara is a colony of Morocco. So this is the second famous latitude, and you must see out here that prime meridian is also crossing the Tropic of Cancer, the equator, as well as the Tropic of Capricorn. And what is important is prime meridian is also cutting across 2 countries through which Tropic of Cancer is passing, and that is Algeria. So prime meridian is cutting across Algeria as well as Mali. So one must be able to memorize which 2 countries in Africa through which Tropic of Cancer and prime meridian, both of them pass. It is Mali and Algeria. In fact, Tropic of Cancer and prime meridian cut across each other in the country of Algeria. And last latitude which is important is the Tropic of Capricorn. So Tropic of Capricorn cuts across the southern part of Africa. And you can see the countries of Namibia, Botswana, South Africa, Mozambique and Madagascar. So island of Madagascar is also cut across by Tropic of Capricorn. And besides that, the countries of Namibia, Botswana, South Africa and Mozambique in the southern belt of Africa are cut by Tropic of Capricorn. So this is also a very, very expected question in UPSC. Which countries and which islands are cut across by Tropic of Capricorn? So that was all about the famous latitudes and longitudes. I would like to add another point. Prime meridian, besides passing through Algeria and Mali, it also cuts across Burkina Faso and Ghana country. So 4 countries from north to south through which prime meridian is passing. First Algeria, second Mali, third Burkina Faso, and fourth Ghana. Please mark it upon the atlas. Open your atlas, take out the pencil, mark upon the atlas these important points. Extract micro notes because they are going to help you massively in revision before the examinations. So that was all about the latitudes and longitudes cutting across Africa, and you must have concluded by now that as far as the latitudes and longitudes are considered, the most important continent is that of Africa. You will have to memorize all the facts from this slide. Moving ahead, let's again see the water bodies surrounding Africa. As I told you, as I told earlier, in the west is the water body of Atlantic Ocean, and in the east is the water body of Indian Ocean, and to the north is the water body called or termed as Mediterranean Sea. It's a part of Atlantic Ocean sandwiched in between Europe and Africa. And there is also a water body between West Asia and Africa, that is Red Sea. It's a part of Indian Ocean. And between Madagascar and the continent of Africa is present a channel termed as Mozambique Channel, after the country which is lying upon this coast. So Mozambique Channel is very, very important. And what is important is one famous river Zambezi, drains into Mozambique Channel. Apart from this, there is another water body. There are 2 gulfs around Africa. First is Gulf of Guinea, located near the coast of Nigeria, and second is Gulf of Aden, located just on the outlet of Red Sea. Let me tell you, Gulf is a water body surrounded on 3 sides by land. That is, it's almost an enclosed water body. So Gulf of Aden and Gulf of Guinea is very, very important. And apart from this, there are 2 famous choke points out here, or straits. I've already covered this part in the video over choke points across the world. So straits are by default the choke points. A strait means a narrow water body connecting to bigger water bodies. So narrow water body connecting to bigger water bodies is known as a strait. And 2 straits are world famous, found in this belt. First is the Strait of Gibraltar. So Strait of Gibraltar lies just to the north of Africa on the inlet of Mediterranean Sea. And Strait of Gibraltar connects Mediterranean Sea with the rest of Atlantic Ocean. Very, very important point. Second strait is the Strait of Bab el-Mandeb. And Strait of Bab el-Mandeb is present between the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden, out here. So it's a narrow water body. So Strait of Gibraltar present in the north of Africa, and Strait of Bab el-Mandeb present in the east of Africa. Both are very, very important water bodies you must memorize, and both are by default the choke points on the Suez Canal route. Let me tell you, the Suez Canal route passes through this belt. I have already covered this part in choke points of the world. I will again cover it in the Africa political features. So I hope you got all the information pertaining to the water bodies present around Africa. Let's shift to the coastal countries, the countries having coast upon various seas. The countries of Africa having a coast upon very famous seas. So first sea which is important out here is Red Sea, and the second sea which is important is Mediterranean Sea. One must be able to memorize the alignment of countries on these seas. So on the Red Sea coast lie the countries of first Egypt, second Sudan, and third Eritrea. So 3 countries are lying upon the Red Sea coastline, as you can see here. Ethiopia is a landlocked country in this belt. You must be able to memorize. And Eritrea was a part of Ethiopia, but it broke away in 1997 approximately, and Ethiopia is now a landlocked country. And just south of Eritrea is the country of Djibouti, very strategic country because it lies upon the choke point. The choke point out here is the Strait of Bab el-Mandeb, as I told you in the last slide. Strait of Bab el-Mandeb, and Djibouti lies upon the Strait of Bab el-Mandeb. And after that, the water body Gulf of Aden, Somalia country lies upon the Gulf of Aden completely. So that was all the information about the countries having a coast upon the Red Sea, Strait of Bab el-Mandeb and Gulf of Aden. Next, moving towards the countries having a coast upon the Mediterranean Sea. So west to east arrangement, one can see the first country having a coastline is Morocco, this belt, followed by Algeria, this belt, followed by Tunisia, this belt, and followed by Libya and Egypt. So I repeat, there are 5 countries having a coast upon Mediterranean Sea. First, Morocco, second, Algeria, third, Tunisia, fourth, Libya, and fifth, Egypt. So Egypt is the only country having a coastline both upon Red Sea as well as Mediterranean Sea. So please remember this point. It's a meticulous observation. UPSC might ask question from this topic. Moving towards south, as you can see, the Mozambique Channel belt. Here is the Zambezi river falling in Mozambique Channel. And on Mozambique Channel lie the countries of Mozambique from west and Madagascar from the east. So please memorize this point as well. Mozambique Channel is sandwiched in between the countries of Mozambique and Madagascar. So that was all about the questions which might be asked over the coastline of African countries on Red Sea, Gulf of Aden, Mediterranean Sea and Mozambique Channel. Moving ahead, let's focus upon the physical features of Africa one by one. And the first physical features which we are going to have a look is the mountains and plateaus of Africa. So Africa is very conspicuous by the absence of a long mountain chain. A long mountain chain is present in the continents of Asia, North America and South America. But a long mountain chain is absent in the continents of Africa, Europe and Australia. Nevertheless, there is a folded mountain chain in Africa. It is of smaller length and width as compared to Himalayas or Andes or Rockies mountains. So the fold mountain system of Africa is the Atlas mountain system present in the northern belt. And the Atlas mountain system is the only fold mountains of Africa. And being a folded mountain means it is having considerable width as well as length. And these mountains are present in 3 countries. The countries of Morocco, Algeria and Tunisia. So it's very easy to memorize the acronym MAT. MAT means Morocco, Algeria and Tunisia. In these countries lie the famous Atlas mountains. Apart from this, isolated mountain peaks are present in the eastern part of Africa, and especially the area around Lake Victoria. Just south of Lake Victoria is present the highest mountain peak of Africa, that is Mount Kilimanjaro. It's a standalone mountain. It is an extinct volcano and it is located in Tanzania. And Kilimanjaro is very close to equator. As you can see, equator cuts across this belt. And just south of equator is located Mount Kilimanjaro. In spite of being close to equator, it has snow-capped peaks. In fact, it is the only mountain peak of the world which lies so close to equator but is snow-capped on the top. And just north of Mount Kilimanjaro is the famous Mount Kenya, the second highest peak of Africa, located in the country of Kenya. And both of these mountains are isolated and are very famous for the cultivation of coffee and tea upon the slopes, all because of the presence of volcanic soil. Volcanic soil is very fertile, very rich in nutrients, and it is used extensively out here for the cultivation of tea and coffee, that is cash crops. Apart from this, some lower height mountain ranges are found across Africa, especially in the South Africa, the Drakensberg Mountains, very old mountain system. And apart from this, the Ethiopian Highlands out here, from where the Blue Nile rises. And lastly, another isolated mountain peak, that is Mount Cameroon, located in the country of Cameroon near Gulf of Guinea. So this was all about the famous mountain peaks. You should memorize the countries in which the Atlas Mountains are present in the north, the countries in which the Mount Kilimanjaro and Mount Kenya are located, and why is Mount Kilimanjaro famous, and what is cultivated on the slopes of Mount Kilimanjaro and Mount Kenya. And besides this, one can see the presence of numerous plateaus in the belt. The most famous is the Katanga Plateau of Congo. The Katanga Plateau is one of the largest copper and diamond producing region of Zaire and also of the world. So copper and diamond producing hub, Katanga Plateau, southern part of Zaire country. And one more plateau is located in Nigeria, the country of Nigeria, the Jos Plateau, very famous for tin mining. So that was all about the mountains and plateaus present in Africa. Moving ahead, let's see the famous deserts present in Africa. So Africa is a continent of deserts, and the largest tropical desert, the largest hot desert of the world is located in northern part of Africa, that is the Sahara Desert. You can see the extent of this desert. Right from the western coast, it extends till Egypt in the east. It covers substantial portions of Western Sahara, Mauritania, Mali, Algeria, Niger, Libya, Chad, Egypt and Sudan. All these countries lie in the belt of Sahara. The Tropic of Cancer cuts across this largest single stretch of desert. So Tropic of Cancer is cutting across like this. It is cutting exactly in the mid of Sahara Desert. And this Sahara Desert is largely continuous from west to east, except where River Nile is flowing, it is discontinuous and disrupted. And the portion of Sahara Desert lying to the east of River Nile is known as Nubian Desert. So this is very, very important. Nubian Desert lies to the east of River Nile. It's a part of Sahara, but because of River Nile, the Sahara Desert has got broken, and one part, the Nubian Desert, lies on the eastern coast. Moving towards south, there are two famous deserts. One is the coastal desert, the Namib Desert, one of the most feared deserts. Maximum shipwrecks in the past happened in this belt, and the sailors used to die all because of lack of water in this region. Still, it is one of the most uninhabited places upon earth. And the second is Kalahari Desert, lying in the country of Botswana, South Africa and Namibia. So Namib Desert is a narrow desert lying in the country of Namibia, while Kalahari Desert lies in the interior in the country of Botswana, South Africa and Namibia. And the Kalahari Desert is world famous for its Bushmen, the local tribes. It is home to Kalahari Bushmen. So this was all about the desert belts of Africa. One more credible information out here. Just south of Sahara, this whole belt is a semi-arid belt. And this semi-arid belt is facing extensive desertification. In short, Sahara Desert is increasing in size towards the south. And this belt has been termed as the Sahel Belt. The Sahel Belt is the sub-Saharan belt lying just south of Sahara Desert. It's a semi-arid belt facing extensive droughts and aridity in the region. So drought are a feature of this belt. And all these conditions have led to massive malnutrition in the belt. Besides, the countries are the most poorest countries of the world and having the lowest HDIs. So this is the whole belt of Sahel. We are going to see in detail about Sahel and how this desertification is being stopped at the regional level. So that was all about the deserts of Africa. Moving ahead, the famous rivers and lakes of Africa. So famous rivers, let's start firstly from the largest river of Africa and the second largest river of the world, the river Congo, also referred to as river Zaire. So river Congo lies exactly in the center of Africa and drains into Atlantic Ocean. It is the largest river among African rivers and it is the second largest river in the world. And the word largest means the volume of water emptied in the sea per unit time. It is second largest in the world after river Amazon. River Amazon is the largest river of the world. This river cuts equator twice. It is an important point to note, and it has numerous waterfalls and rapids. Rapids are steps in the river base, leading to turbulent water flow in the river. In short, river Congo is not navigable. It is very difficult to navigate river Congo, and this is why around river Congo is present the dense evergreen equatorial forest, same as Amazon forest. And this forest is referred to as Congo forest. And all because this river is not navigable, these forests have been left as virgin forest in the world. In fact, these are the only virgin forest left in the world at present. That is untouched forest. No human intervention in the belt. So that was all about river Congo and equatorial wet evergreen rainforest around river Congo. And another important point is that the river banks of river Congo are very famous for the supply of diamonds. Diamonds are in fact found as alluvial deposits in the river Congo. The second important river in this belt is river Niger. And river Niger starts in the west, the Guinea Highlands, and it goes north, turns exactly at 90 degrees, turns southwards and drains into the Gulf of Guinea. And the delta of river Niger is world famous, all because hydrocarbons are present in this delta. And this delta is formed in the country of Nigeria. Nigeria lies just on the Gulf of Guinea. So hydrocarbons, and this is why Nigeria is on rank 1 in Africa for hydrocarbons, that is crude oil and natural gas supplies in the world. In fact, it is also one of the largest exporters of crude and natural gas to India. So river Niger drains into Gulf of Guinea, as I told, third longest river of Africa, and Port Harcourt, the famous port exporting crude and natural gas, the famous port of Nigeria, is located on delta of river Niger. Let's see the other rivers of Africa. River Zambezi. So river Zambezi, river Limpopo and river Orange, all three are found to the southern part of Africa. First, river Zambezi. As you can see, river Zambezi rises from this belt and drains in Mozambique Channel. River Zambezi arises or emerges from Katanga Plateau. And I just told you that Katanga Plateau is world famous for copper and diamonds. It drains into Mozambique Channel. And one of the highest waterfalls of the world, the Victoria waterfalls, lie on Zambezi River. It also forms a boundary between two countries, Zimbabwe and Zambia. We are going to see this in the next video, that is Africa political features. So point to note here is river Zambezi comes out from Katanga Plateau, drains into Mozambique Channel, and Victoria Falls are on river Zambezi. Next, river Limpopo, just south of river Zambezi, a short river, but very, very important because it is cutting across Tropic of Capricorn twice. As you can see here, it cuts Tropic of Capricorn twice and it drains into Indian Ocean. This is the Indian Ocean, this is the Atlantic Ocean. So it drains into Indian Ocean, not specifically the Mozambique Channel. So I repeat, while Zambezi drains into Mozambique Channel specifically, river Limpopo drains into Indian Ocean. And last point, river Orange. As you can see, river Orange is lying in South Africa. It also forms a boundary between South Africa and Namibia out here, this belt. and one of its tributaries is Vaal, Vaal, and it drains into Atlantic Ocean. And the tributary of River Orange, that is Vaal, is world famous for gold deposits, which are alluvial deposits out here. So I repeat the three famous rivers of southern part of Africa: River Zambezi, River Limpopo, River Orange. River Zambezi is important because it comes out from Katanga Plateau, drains into Mozambique Channel. River Limpopo is important because it drains into Indian Ocean proper and it cuts Tropic of Capricorn twice. River Orange is important because it forms a boundary between South Africa and Namibia, and one of its tributaries, River Vaal, has presence of alluvial deposits of gold. And last river of Africa, that is River Nile. River Nile is also the longest river of world. Though some of the geographers claim that the longest river is River Amazon in South America. But still officially, this fact has not been recognized. So till date, River Nile is the longest river of the world. And River Nile comes out as two head tributaries. First is River White Nile coming out from Lake Victoria. Out here you can see in the map. This is the largest branch of River Nile. And second is a tributary of River White Nile, that is Blue Nile, comes out from Lake Tana and joins River White Nile at Khartoum. Khartoum is the capital of Sudan. We are going to see this in Africa political features. And Lake Tana lies in the Ethiopian Highlands, the country of Ethiopia. And Lake Victoria is one of the largest lakes of the world. We are going to see this in the next slide. So River Nile and very famous cities on River Nile are Khartoum, the capital of Sudan, and Cairo, the capital of Egypt, and Alexandria, the largest seaport of Egypt. And because of the presence of River Nile, Egypt has been transformed into a granary. Egypt is a part of Sahara Desert, but the presence of River Nile has ensured agriculture in Egypt. In short, Egypt is also referred to as the gift of River Nile. And River Nile is also known as lifeblood of Egypt. And there is one very famous dam which has been constructed on River Nile, that is Aswan Dam. And Aswan Dam has created one of the largest backwaters lake of the world, that is Lake Nasser. Lake Nasser is located as artificial lake created because of damming the River Nile. And Lake Nasser is very, very important because the Tropic of Cancer cuts across Lake Nasser. So this is a very, very important point to note. So Aswan Dam on Nile River in Egypt, and Lake Nasser, through this lake passes the Tropic of Cancer. And Blue Nile rises from Lake Tana in Ethiopian Highlands. White Nile comes out from Lake Victoria. Both of them drain into Mediterranean Sea. Very famous seaport is Alexandria on the delta of River Nile. Next, moving ahead, let us see the famous lakes of Africa. So the largest lake of Africa and the most famous is Lake Victoria, from where the River White Nile comes out, as you can see here. It is the largest lake of Africa, and 3 countries are having their boundaries inside Lake Victoria, that is Uganda, Kenya and Tanzania. So Uganda, Kenya and Tanzania share Lake Victoria. This is a very, very important fact. It is the largest lake of Africa and the world's 3rd largest lake after Caspian Sea and Lake Superior. So rank 1 is Caspian Sea of Central Asia. Rank 2 in the world is Lake Superior of North America. And rank 3 is Lake Victoria of Africa. And let me tell you, Caspian Sea is a saline lake, while Lake Superior and Lake Victoria are freshwater lakes. So that makes Lake Victoria the 2nd largest freshwater lake of the world. I repeat, Lake Victoria is the 2nd largest freshwater lake of the world, while it is the 3rd largest lake of the world. And equator cuts across Lake Victoria. This is another important point. Also, coral reefs are present inside Lake Victoria. So that makes it very, very important point to note. Coral reefs are found only in the sea. Coral reefs are majorly found in the sea. And this is an exception out here. Coral reefs lying in the fresh water of Lake Victoria. It's an exception. You must memorize this fact. Next famous lake is Lake Tana, lying in Ethiopian Highlands, source of Blue Nile, as you can see here. Next, Lake Chad, the largest lake lying near the Sahara Desert, near the Chad country. You can see it here. This lake is drying up in the recent times. It will completely dry up in the same way as Aral Sea dried up in the Central Asian belt. So Lake Chad will disappear from map in the next 2 decades. It will be one of the biggest disasters of the modern times. Next, Lake Volta. So Lake Volta has been created by damming the river Volta in this belt. And Lake Volta is one of the largest man-made lakes in Africa, and through this lake passes the very famous Prime Meridian. So this is also a very, very important point. Prime Meridian passes, 0 degree longitude passes through which lake? It is Lake Volta in Africa. And moving southwards, there are 2 very famous lakes, Lake Tanganyika and Lake Malawi, lying between many countries. So we are going to see in detail these 2 lakes. So Lake Tanganyika, as you can see, Lake Tanganyika is present out here. The boundaries of Tanzania in the east, the boundary of Burundi in the east, and the boundary of Congo in the west, and the boundary of Zambia in the west. So Zambia is having a coast. Democratic Republic of Congo, that is Zaire country, is having a coast. Burundi is having a coast, and Tanzania is having a coast. 4 countries are having their coast on Lake Tanganyika. And let me tell you, Lake Tanganyika is the 2nd deepest lake of the world after Lake Baikal of Russia. So we will see Lake Baikal in separate mapping of Russia. So it is the 2nd deepest lake of the world. It lies in the Rift Valley. We are going to see the complete information about Rift Valley in the last video of Africa. Moving more southwards, there is another lake, Lake Malawi or Lake Nyasha. As you can see it here, Lake Malawi. It is also named as Lake Nyasha. And many countries are having a coast upon this lake. First is the country of Malawi in the west. Second is Tanzania in the north. And third is Mozambique in the south. So 3 countries are having a coast upon Lake Malawi. So that is an important point to note. I again repeat, the countries having a coast on Lake Tanganyika and Lake Malawi are very, very important. Both these lakes lie in Rift Valley. We are going to see a detailed video over Rift Valley in the last video of Africa, that is Africa 3rd part. So that was all about the lakes. The lakes lying between various countries are important, and factual questions might be asked by UPSC over either Lake Victoria, Lake Tanganyika or Lake Malawi. And moving ahead to contemporary aspects of Africa today, there has been a news about the Sahel region in the last 3 decades that it is facing increased desertification. And as I told, the Sahel belt lies just south of Sahara. As you can see this belt in the countries of Senegal, Mauritania, Mali, Niger, also Nigeria and Cameroon and Chad country. Right away it extends towards the east into Sudan as well. So this is the whole belt of Sahel, and this is a semi-arid belt prone to droughts, and the lakes and rivers have dried up, and the people living there are facing increased malnutrition, and this is the reason to worry about. So increasing desertification, Sahara Desert is expanding in size in the south. It can spell disaster for the countries of Sahel belt, and this is why the African Union in 2007 came out with a big project, the Great Green Wall Initiative. I repeat, the Great Green Wall Initiative. 2007 it started off. All that it focused upon was planting of trees in the whole of Sahel belt, right from Senegal in the west till Sudan in the east. So from Senegal in the west till Sudan in the east. This is the Great Green Wall. It is completely 8,000 kilometers in length. And once complete, it will be the largest living structure on the planet Earth. So largest living structure. Nowhere on our planet Earth is such a long stretch of trees found. 8,000 kilometers. It's one of the wonders of the modern world. Largest living structure it will be by 2030. And the major aim of the Great Green Wall Initiative is to restore Africa's degraded, desertified landscapes and transform the millions of lives in one of the poorest regions of the world, that is Sahel. So Sahel harbors the poorest people of the world, and once successful, the Great Green Wall Initiative will change the lives of millions of poor people in this region. And to this initiative of African Union, another important initiative added up, and that initiative was the United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification. United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification also launched its own program in this belt to promote the Great Green Wall. And the name of this program of United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification is FLUVE program. FLEUVE. FLUVE. The full form is Local Environment Coalition. Local Environment Coalition for a Green Union. So I repeat, Local Environment Coalition for a Green Union. So FLUVE is a program of UNCCD, United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification. It's a supportive program to African Union's Great Green Wall Initiative in the Sahel Belt. And let me give you a short history about UNCCD. United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification is a convention signed between countries in the very famous Rio Summit of 1992. I told about the Rio Summit or the Earth Summit of 1992 when I covered the mapping portion of South America. And I'm giving you a homework. Please write in the comment box which conventions were signed in the Rio Summit of 1992, the Earth Summit of 1992. So very, very important. UPSC might ask statement-based questions from Sahel, from Great Green Wall Initiative, and from FLUVE program, the Local Environment Coalition for a Green Union, the program of UNCCD in the Sahel Belt. And the last topic of today, the Ebola virus outbreak of 2014. So Ebola virus outbreak happened in 2014 in West Africa, namely in the countries of Guinea, Sierra Leone and Liberia. UPSC also asked this question in 2014-15. And you can see this year is denoted here. But originally this Ebola disease came out from the forest of Congo. So you can see the year 1976, this came out. The first outbreak was noted in the Democratic Republic of Congo, that is Zaire. But the largest outbreak happened in 2014, killing many people, thousands of people across the countries of Guinea, Sierra Leone and Liberia. And Ebola is caused by a virus, Ebola virus. The primary host of this Ebola virus is the fruit bat. The secondary host is the gorilla, the chimpanzee, that is the primates, as also the antelope and the pigs. And humans get infected by close contact with the blood, secretion, organs or fluids of infected animals, that is gorilla, chimpanzee, antelopes and pigs. From these animals humans are infected, that is, it's a zoonotic virus, animal to human transmission. And then Ebola spreads through human to human transmission. So the transmission is almost similar to various other viruses which have wreaked havoc, including the novel version of coronavirus, which has created havoc across the world in 2020. But Ebola is very fatal. Ebola is one of the most fatal diseases, and the person dies of multiple organ failure. It spreads very fast. So Ebola virus outbreak of 2014 is very important for prelims portion. So that was all about the physical features of Africa and some contemporary aspects. In the coming video, we are going to cover the political aspects of Africa and some remaining current affairs. We will end this session with the expected questions which can be asked from these topics. First, Strait of Gibraltar and Strait of Bab el-Mandeb located in which portions? I told Strait of Gibraltar connects Mediterranean Sea with the Atlantic Ocean. Strait of Bab el-Mandeb connects Red Sea with Gulf of Aden. Next, Tropic of Capricorn passes through which countries? I told it passes through the southern portion of Africa, including the island of Madagascar, also Mozambique, also South Africa and Namibia. Please go through and memorize these countries. Next, Nubian Desert is in which country? I told it's in Egypt. It's a broken away part of Sahara Desert, lying to the east of River Nile. Next, which river cuts across Tropic of Capricorn twice? I told it's River Limpopo in the southern part of Africa. Also, River Zaire cuts across the equator twice. Next, through which countries does both the Tropic of Cancer and Prime Meridian passes? I told it's Algeria and Mali. Two countries through which both these famous latitudes and longitudes passes. And next, Lake Chad and Lake Tana location. Lake Tana is located in Ethiopian Highlands. Lake Chad is located just south of Sahara Basin. And lastly, Lake Malawi and Lake Tanganyika, the countries having a coastline. So I would suggest after finishing this video, after finishing listening to the video, please write down the answers of two questions in the comment box. First, which countries are lying on Lake Malawi, Lake Tanganyika as well as Lake Victoria? So this is the first question. The answer you have to write in the comment box. Lake Malawi, Lake Tanganyika and Lake Victoria, the countries lying upon these lakes. And second, which conventions were signed in the famous Rio Summit or the Earth Summit of 1992? So that was all about the complete information, exhaustive, comprehensive information about Africa physical features. In the coming session, we are going to deal about political features of Africa. That ends the session. Thanks a lot.